Join us as we sail from Texas to the Caribbean. 3 summers, 3 legs, and the biggest adventure of our lives. Previously on Don Treader. The place was a freaking war zone with biscuits.
This is the Smack boys getting sketchy. Biscuits. Definitely in Louisiana. And they do have crawfish that wear boots. So how can you argue with that? Downtown Houma.
Where?
Louisiana City.
Today's run will take us through the La Rose Board Cutoff, past Catahoula Bay and Lake Salvador, and through Bayou Bayateria to the Harvey Lock. From there, it's down the mighty Mississippi to the Industrial Lock, then under a few more bridges to the Seabrook Harbor Marina.
Okay, it's about 8:30 a.m. We're headed to New Orleans today, just came out of Houma. It's nice. It's a beautiful day. It's going to get hot later. The boys are down asleep right now. But it's been a nice trip, really nice trip so far. Kind of pros and cons. Again, I'll keep kind of checking in on that. It's definitely hot and muggy at night, anchoring out. You know, you're always trying to balance getting enough air into the boat with keeping bugs out of the boat. And so we don't have a great screening system. Our side hatches have screens on them, but our big hatches do not. That's a big one if you're going to be doing the ICW and kind of anchoring inland. I think it's something you need to think about. If you have all the hatches open with screens and just have some air going through the boat, it's bearable. But you know, we're having 90 to 100 degree days. So anyway, kind of learning tips and tricks as we go. One of my biggest fears, fear isn't the right word, but just nervous about it, was the going through bridges and locks and all that stuff. The locks were really concerning to me. I've never been through them, didn't really know what to expect. And it wasn't bad. I mean, it's, you know, they pay attention to you. They kind of help talk you through it. They're just really good people. And most of these locks here, which I didn't understand, they're basically just floodgate locks. They're not the kind of locks that are, you know, moving you up and down. So that's not that big of a deal. Apart from that, it's kind of been what I expected. It's you know, a lot of just kind of keeping on your course and making sure you're staying out of the shallow water, and you know, watching oncoming traffic and a lot of tow traffic, but nothing, you know, really concerning. So overall, it's been a really cool, mellow trip. The smells of the, you know, just the foliage it's amazing. It's really beautiful. So yeah, I recommend this. I mean, I'm not a big fan of motoring. It's definitely something I've had to learn. I've made some, you know, pretty good mistakes. But so far nothing huge. We've been able to kind of get out of it. So overall, it's going well. Really looking forward to New Orleans. I've got obviously a lot of bridges and a lot of locks coming up in the next few hours. So we'll try to get some of that on film. So that's about it. Talk to you later.
So let me give you some perspective on these bridges and locks you encounter along the ICW. As I've told you before, I'm not a big fan of these things. The communications issues you usually run into with the tenders, most of which are very professional, but some of which are just doofuses. The waiting, the uncertainty, the trying to figure out so many different types of these contraptions, from lift to bascule to pontoon, blah, blah, blah. Let's just say it can definitely harsh one's mellow. Well, today, we would be entering bridge and lock hell. To see what I mean, let's look at the last 5 days of our travels. On day 1, 2 bridges and 0 locks. Day 2, 1 lock and 3 bridges. Day 3, 1 bridge and 1 lock. Day 4, 3 bridges and 0 locks. Day 5, 1 lock and 3 bridges. And day 6, you ready for this? 17 bridges and 2 locks. You heard me. 17 freaking bridges. It's just insane. So when you take the ICW from Houston to New Orleans, be ready. So this is what you see a lot of. You see the AIS target coming to us. Again, I'm using iNavX here on an iPad. See how we got this? Let me see if I can get it for you here. You can see him there in the distance, right off our bow. Just a big tow coming up. So yeah, just kind of always watching, you know, where you are in the channel, trying to give them room. And avoid the shallow water. So just kind of always bouncing back between this and your you know, instruments here and what's coming. And so it's been fun kind of teaching the boys how to do this as well. They'll essentially give me 2 hours break during the day. Each of them steer for 30 minutes. So trying to kind of get them on a watch system very slowly, get them used to it. Jesse was steering, and what did you just ask your brother for?
2 purples, 1
Loud,
yellow.
I can hear you.
2 purples, 1 yellow, and 1 green.
Green what?
Skittle.
Skittle. Because when a man is driving, he needs to get whatever he needs to get, right?
When I was in school and acting a fool, my soul got saved, but then it been paid to still and kept running off with my crew. Sex on my brain and death in my veins. Gotta maintain the state of the truth.
And here's our vacuum cleaner.
My body was loving it, soul was hating it. Time and time after time, our bodies get close, the girl was so fine.
Got a bit of a thunderstorm building up here. It's headed east, so are we, but it's out in front of us, so we might catch some rain on the back end of it, but it's mostly over here. This is the tail end. So on radar it's showing up. Most of the activity's over in here, so hopefully we won't get too wet. Quinn's driving us. Just coming from that lift bridge there. The La Rose Borg, I think is what it was called. Kind of skinny here and got a tow coming down at us. But we're moving along pretty well. The deck is filthy. I don't know if you can see it. But just us, you know, kind of tying up and moving off and on, and my goodness, it needs to be cleaned. So that's one thing about all this industrial stuff and inland sailing, is your boat gets filthy. But it's fairly easy. So Quinn saw this on the AIS target. He's just steering us down. This is Lake Salvador. There's an anchorage marked in Waterway Guide right there. I don't like the power lines, but it looks like it'd be a pretty good spot to anchor. It's fairly deep in here, 15, 18, so good depth. Thunderstorms blowing up to the north of us. Looks like they're moving away from us, so hopefully they won't come down. But yeah, hearing some thunder, and about 20 miles out of New Orleans, so still headed that way. Trip has been great so far. Jesse's asleep, and so is Pepper. There's some of that thunder. So yeah, we'll hopefully skirt most of these storms and get in here pretty soon.
One thing about cruising, at least on this trip, is we were always moving. So we never really hung out in a town more than overnight because our goal was Florida. So having a schedule like that really kind of started to wear on us. These smaller towns, you can kind of see everything there is to offer in a night or two, but it's hard to kind of enjoy a place because you're just staying there overnight, grabbing something to eat, and then leaving. So it's a lot like traveling on the road in that respect. At this point, we were pretty tired and ready to stop for a few days. So we were really looking forward to New Orleans, finding a marina, and hanging out for a few days and really enjoying Louisiana.
There's New Orleans in the distance. We're getting close.
All right.
Just back and forth between the river here.
Just hit New Orleans. That was Jesse. Tummy trouble.
Hashtag tummy troubles.
It is day 6.
Day 6, yep.
And we are in New Orleans and headed to our marina.
The tug captain hailed us and told us to follow him toward the north side of the upcoming bend as a tanker was coming upriver at us. As I came around the bend, I saw a looming orange mountain steaming right toward us. I was thankful yet again that tug captains out there really do watch out for you. With the ship safely behind us, we hooked a left into the inlet for the industrial lock. And this is where things went right into the toilet. Now, a bit of foreshadowing for that toilet swirl. As we left the Harvey lock, we called the Seabrook Harbor Marina, our final destination for the next few days. From that position, the marina was less than 10 miles away. When I told the woman where we were, and that I'd come by the office when we got there in a couple of hours, quote unquote, she paused and then said we wouldn't be in until very late at night. I didn't understand her math, but politely agreed that I'd come by in the morning if the office was closed. Oh boy, the lamb to the slaughter. Now, it had been an absolute breeze up to this point. We had made incredible time on this run from Houma, and as we pulled up to the industrial lock bollards at 3:35 p.m., we were within 4 miles of our marina. All that stood between us and beignets were 1 lock and 6 bridges. Enter curfew hell. Now, to understand what I mean, take a close look at the curfew times for that Claude Avenue bridge just before the lock. Curfew starts at 3:30, and it was now 3:35. We called for an open and received absolutely no response. Nothing. After several calls, the lockmaster came on and said we'd be waiting until 5:45 due to the curfew. We'd missed the open by 5 freaking minutes. We moved over to these ginormous bollards you see here and tied up. While waiting, I looked through the other bridges in Waterway Guide and saw the same curfew time. So I still thought we'd be to the marina by 7 or 8. No big deal. Right on time at 5:45, the Claude Avenue Bridge opened and we moved into the industrial lock. We passed through with no problems, just like with the Harvey lock, and called the next bridge the Seabrook or Claiborne Bridge. No answer. Several more calls for an open. No answer. Once again, the beleaguered lockmaster came on and said we'd be waiting until about 6:30 or so for this one, even though the curfew times listed 5:45. So, with lots of barge traffic coming and going through the lock, I moved us over to these pylons, which was the only thing available. They were in very shallow water and we didn't have enough length to span two of them for stability. So I literally had to balance our boat on a single creosote slathered pylon for almost an hour with our engine, shifting between forward and reverse to hold us there with the wakes and current pushing us around. Finally, at 6:40, the bridge rose. Now only a few more to go. The Florida Avenue Bridge opened right up for us as expected, as did the Almonaster Railroad Bridge. We then slid under the I-10 bridge and only had the Danziger Bridge between us and a peaceful, luxurious slip and a shower. That's when I realized I'd really screwed up. You see that note about 4 hours notice required for an open? Well, in the thick haze of 17 freaking bridges, I'd missed that little detail. I was within 1 mile of our marina and I couldn't get there. We called the number listed by Waterway Guide and got a very understanding woman. She put us on hold and made a couple of calls. It turns out the dude was on an emergency call, but would be able to get to our little bridge within 2 hours or so. 2 freaking hours. So, completely trapped, we circled in the small canal and circled and circled and circled. At about 9:35 p.m., we finally saw the headlights of a truck pull up to the tender box. And we finally got a VHF call that he was raising the bridge. We ended up pulling into the slip at Seabrook Harbor Marina at around 11 p.m., just like the woman had predicted. We tied up and I went straight to bed. I'd had enough of this particular day in the life of exotic yachting.
What you looking at?
This.
You guys don't talk enough. You're making me do all the talking.
Got sorts. Very old coins.
Very, very old coins.
206 BC. 336 BC.
Okay, so first tell me kind of what you guys thought about what Brennan's would be like. I had told you guys about it before, right?
Yeah, I knew it would be a fancy restaurant once you said, like, there's a dress code, we can't wear shorts or t-shirts. We actually had to dress fancy or they wouldn't let us in.
Yeah.
So that's immediately
that was the first indication.
Red flag for a fancy restaurant.
And what about you, Jess? What were you expecting?
I was expecting like a bigger place. I didn't know it was like traditional. I thought it was like a big chain.
Like a big fancy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But like I liked it more than I thought I would have.
That's cool because it's a really old kind of small building, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you guys know that there's like several levels to it?
No.
We were on the ground floor, but there are other dining rooms, either 2 or 3 floors. It goes up with more dining up there.
Oh.
So, okay, so we got there and kind of ordered our drinks, and then what did we do after that?
We walked out to the courtyard where the turtles were. They go on parade every year. And...
Wait, the turtles go on parade?
Yeah. They take the turtles on parade.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I didn't know
for
that.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a very slow parade.
Yeah.
Here we are at Brennan's at the Turtle Pool. What did you think about the courtyard?
Oh, I thought it was awesome.
It's beautiful, and
yeah. Back
kind
to
of tell them a little bit about it.
well, back to what I said, like how it wasn't as fancy as I thought it was gonna be. It was like traditional in the backyard, like kind of completed that, and it was really like old and neat. It was really cool. I liked it.
Yeah, it's the whole of New Orleans is kind of like that,
Yeah.
just really old and very mysterious French. Exactly. Yeah. So the dishes we had. So we started off with the appetizer of oysters, je les bois, je vais, je or whatever.
I don't think that's it.
I don't. But it was very good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then or entrees. What'd you get?
I got the blanched goldfish, POISSON BLANGE,
Ooh, good.
poison blanche.
Yeah. So, Quinn looked at me and he said, "Dad, I think I'm going to have the poison blanche." And I was going, "What?" And it was the poisson. So, learning some French as we go. And how was it?
It was very good.
Yeah. Do you know what kind of fish it was?
No, it just says goldfish.
Goldfish. Okay, so I had the lamb, whatever it is. Oh my goodness, it was good. Just these tender cuts of lamb, kind of medium rare cooked. It was delicious. And let's see, what'd you have?
I had the roasted duck. Yeah, I mean it was pretty good. It was like a really small portion, but yeah, it was pretty awesome.
That's true. Like yours was kind of like a normal portion.
Yeah.
But ours was kind of small, I think, the other meats.
Yeah.
But was it, you hadn't ever had duck before, had you?
No. I mean, I'm pretty sure I had it before, but I don't remember it.
Okay. All right. And then we finished our meal. Fantastic food. The service was incredible. So like the second you would take a sip of water, you'd set it down and there'd be somebody, or they would change out your silverware or napkins, fold them up. It was incredible. Okay, and then dessert. You guys explain the dessert.
We got the banana fosters, and is it flambe?
Flambe,
Yeah,
yeah.
they came out and cooked it in front of us, and they flambéed it with the fire and everything, and the ice cream and the bananas and the crepes. It was amazing.
So what did you think of it?
I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's awesome.
So one of your favorite, do you remember the ingredients that went into it?
Bananas.
Bananas and some Foster.
Yeah.
The next morning, we went to Café du Monde. So the boys had never been to New Orleans, and so they had to try Café du Monde and the beignets and the coffee. And so, tell them what you guys thought about that.
Well, I have been to New Orleans before.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'd forgotten.
And so it was my second time at Café du Monde. That is a necessary thing on a trip to New Orleans.
I'll leave this in the video
All right.
so you can shame me.
And I have loved it every single time. The wait is ridiculous unless you go late at night. And I think we waited for what, 45 minutes?
About
45 minutes, an hour. And
that dude was playing the trumpet, remember?
Yeah, street musicians. And then we finally got to our beignets, and they were divine.
Yes.
Yes. Drenched
Covered
in
in sugar,
yeah,
exactly.
Sugar
Yeah.
everywhere.
And did you like the coffee too? The chicory coffee?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
So both you guys drank like huge things of coffee. Were you like jacked?
Not really.
I don't
No?
feel different from caffeine.
You don't? All right. Okay, this is Jesse. He's sucking beignet sugar. He's just that crazy. Did some come out your nose?
I don't think so.
All right, Quinn, let's see if I can do it.
It's in my lungs, I can't do it anymore. Alright.
Where are we going?
I love this town. Okay, looks like we're going into a toy store.
Take your coffee out.
Yep. So overall, what'd you think about New Orleans?
It's probably my favorite city.
Favorite city? What about you?
It's probably
Wait, hold up. Okay, and what about you? What do you think about New Orleans?
Well, it's probably one of my favorite cities, but like one of them. I mean, London's probably first, but yeah, New
Okay.
Orleans is amazing.
It is. It's amazing. Absolutely.
It's like history.
So, we had an absolute blast. Spent 3 days in New Orleans, but we were also really excited to get moving because we were now leaving the ICW generally and sailing behind the Barrier Islands. So heading through Mississippi and then Alabama and into Florida. So the next few nights were going to be great. We'd be anchoring behind the Barrier Islands and really excited to get out there and go. So great time, and we're off to Florida.
Yep.
Later. Okay, I'm changing out the fuel filters for this Yanmar 4JHE. Started with the primary down here, and essentially just took it, unmounted it from the sidewall there, and pulling the bottom part off here. And basically all we're going to do is just replace it with this cylinder, or this filter, I mean. And you just lubricate the O-rings and the gaskets with oil, motor oil, as well as the O-ring that will go in here. So this is what I pulled out. So you can see quite a bit of water down there on the bottom and the fuel on top, and that water is pretty dirty. One of the reasons is you know, as the engine was down, the boat just sat for about a year. So I'm sure there's, you know, some sludge in the fuel tank, so we're just watching that. We're about to go offshore, so I wanted to make sure it was pretty solid. We did put a fuel stabilizer in before I left, so that should knock down most of the crud, and I'll just have to keep an eye on these. Didn't have any problems with, you know, the engine sputtering or going out or anything like that, but just want to stay ahead of it. So that's what we're going to do. We'll start unscrewing this one, and then we're going to clean the sight bowl down here, which just had some nastiness from that water. Then I'll bring it back. Okay, so this is the sight bowl. You can see it's pretty dang nasty. So this is about after, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 hours of motoring, and after a year of that fuel just sitting. So as you can tell, it's pretty nasty.
Good lesson though, just learning to keep an eye on this and make sure we change it when we need to. Keep that fuel flowing. Okay, I just pulled off the old secondary filter, and this is what came out of that. Much cleaner obviously than what was in the primary, which is great. So that looks good. According to Yanmar, when you put the new filter on, you should not fill it with fuel. The secondary filter, you do the primary, but the secondary you don't. So now I'm going to bleed the system. First by starting, there's a little bleed screw on the secondary secondary side, and so you pump to fill this new filter up first. Once the filter is full, you tighten that off, and then there's a bleed nut there on the injector. Loosen that injector nut, get fuel to there, bleed that, and then it should be good. So that's what we're going to do now. Quinn likes to sit on the galley. Yeah. Now what you playing?
Call of Duty.
Huh?
Call of Duty.
Huh?
Call of Duty.
Pepper likes to walk around and lick everybody. Are you winning?
Yes.
Or are you a nerd? Alright, and then Jesse is hanging out in his little nest up in the V-bird. What are you watching?
My YouTuber.
YouTuber? By the name of? Oh, no, Nika. Alright. Just checking.
Oh, you're taking it.
Yeah, taking some video. Alright, so this is where the boys sleep. And they keep it relatively clean. It's not too bad. And this is my abode. A little messy, but you know. So the plan is to leave tomorrow morning for Cat Island, Mississippi. The bridge won't open till 8:30. That's later, and I'd like to get out of here. I wanted to be out of here by 7. But we got to do what we got to do. So we'll check in later. Hey everyone! Just wanted to give you a quick message to all of our patrons.
What are our patrons?
They're the very generous people that give us money for our videos.
Okay.
Yeah. So
people give us money for these?
Yeah, they
Dad,
donate.
that's crazy. Why would people give us money for these?
Because they're generous people.
Dad, that's crazy.
Yes. Okay. Fine. Just. Okay. Okay. So as I was saying. I just wanted to thank all of the patrons for being very generous and giving us money for the videos, which is a little crazy, but hey, you know, thank you. So I want to also let you know that only on our patron page we will be providing, you know, behind the scenes videos of, you know, what we think about what we're heading into and just kind of the mindset of being out there cruising.
So hope you guys enjoyed that. Just a little bit of an extra for all of our patrons. Thank you very much for your support, and look forward to seeing you the next episode. I will now untie my children.
Hit the like and the subscribe button. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button.
Smash that like button in the face.
Yeah, I'll make that next video if we get 10,000 likes.